into that.
We're saying I
I'm
should eat.
having
No, Jenny won't turn on our camera. That's why.
No, no, no. You guys can turn on the camera until I finish eating.
Yeah, I don't have a camera, remember? Oh, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
No, Jenny won't turn on our camera. That's why. Oh, wow.
Joelle, mute your live now. Good morning. This is Dreaming. Oh no. Good morning. This is Dreaming in Jamaica. Welcome back to day 2 of Dream Dust. We have gathered here today to finish what we started, and we're going to do it well.
is it 3 days or two?
Just 2 days. I'm considering letting the site stay up for one more day. So people who don't check their email on the weekend can catch it on Monday. But I might not. I
Yeah.
might just like screen record the myself going through the website and then send that video to them and
Okay.
stick to my word and finish the event when I said the event is going to be finished. But we can talk about that later.
Alright.
Right, so this panel talk, as you guys can see, is called Dreaming in Jamaica, and I really wanted us to talk about like how we've been surviving animation in Jamaica so far. Like if it's been going well, how have we found the experience? And so I called a bunch of us, like with some variety in the criteria. I guess some of us are freelancers, some of us are employed, some of us do both. So can you like go around and introduce yourself? I'll go first. My name is Jenille Brown. I'm known as Roxanne online. I'm full-time employed to Listen Me Caribbean, which is an animation studio in Jamaica. It's very young, it's very small. We've been doing a lot. And recently I've started doing commissions. So I do commissions and studio work and sometimes personal work. Who's next?
Alright, I guess I'll go next. I'm Davan Easy. Currently working at GSW but mostly freelancing. We're not working on any major projects. Not freelancing. Well, the freelancing thing comes with like a lot of stuff, like animation, graphic design. Recently got into making emotes for like Twitch streamers, overlays, and those stuff. Surprisingly, makes a lot of money from it.
Who else?
So my name is Gashwayne Hudson, known as Gashwayne Online. I'm a illustrator and comic book artist and a practicing animator. I work at Listen Me as well. I do freelance work on my free time, though recently, due to the comic, I haven't really had much time to do freelance work. But I do hope to get back into that. And I have my own series. I have several brands that I also work on for myself that I'm trying to build out. And you can find my stuff online. Just search Gashwoods.
Yo, I need Gashwayne energy. Like keep putting your personal work before the commission. I need that type of energy now.
Who's next?
Morning, everybody. My name is Joelle, or I am Jojo McFarlane. I do work at Listening Caribbean alongside Jenille and Gashwayne. I do mainly illustration and 2.5D animation or motion graphics. I don't have a lot of front runner IPs like Gashwayne. my most prominent works are gels, which is on display now, and Goonies. Other than that, I just go to Pinterest and just find something to inspire me and draw it. Yeah.
Um, Nathanael, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, hi. Sorry about that. I'm Nathanael, also known as Stratus online. I freelance. I've been freelance for the past 5 years. I used to work at GSW with Davan. Um, I'm generally doing some freelance work. I don't get to work on a lot of personal stuff. I'm trying to fix that. As Davan said, I really like that energy that Gashwayne has, where he gets to put a lot of his freelance work.
Everyone has his priorities
last.
straight.
Well, that's the thing, because I don't have a 9 to 5 job or work in a studio right now. It's very difficult to do that. So it's just trying to find a balance. But yeah, I don't think I have any very well known works or anything to speak about, but that's me.
Hey,
Ikem?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Ikem Smith. I'm a freelance illustrator and I do motion graphics a lot and video editing. I have a music project called Mikey Tumbleweed, which hasn't seen the light of day for years. And yeah, just work mostly with small agencies and musicians. And yeah, that's it.
Danielle, please introduce yourself. What do you do? Like, how do you make money? What do you spend your days doing? Basically.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Danielle Parchment, also known as Nilly Studio on Instagram, Twitter, and I don't know where else. I make money by doing illustrations and promoting my work online. Not purposely, but just by putting my work out there and customers find me as well.
Is everybody? Did everyone hear Ikem a while ago when they were talking? When he was talking?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
teacher.
Okay, very good. Alright, so we've all done the instructions. Forgive us if we're being a little bit slow, guys. It was a long day yesterday, and we're all still kind of tired. Right, so how did you guys get work? How did you guys find your current career path? How did you get into it?
My current career path was a whole mistake. I didn't even I used to draw, but I didn't like drawing or saw myself learning to draw. But I know that back in school, that's all I did in the back of the books, teacher teaching, I'm just scribbling in the back of a book. Didn't have any. First of all, I don't know about any other school, but Jago did not have. Saint Jago did not have any art teacher. That was a free session. People literally took that class just to have a free session. Then after high school is basically what you do after that. After the whole football thing didn't work out and stuff. What you do now, that typical American jock story. Footballer, sports guy get injured, don't know what else to do. And then I was literally chilling up where GSW is, and literally drawing, just going up there every now and then, learning from some of them, till they literally just took me in and said they like how I draw, I can do better, showed me some ropes, and I started drawing. And from that, it just became a hobby. And that's what I found out during this whole art thing, that when you literally do something that you like, you can make money from it, no matter how little it may be. because like I literally just started posting up on Instagram. I really took it serious when I saw Gash and Patrick did that. What's it called? Inktober artwork, and I'm like, all right, never been a part of it. Let me just jump in. And like I just started posting more on Instagram, and then after a couple posts, I see people messaging me like, how much do I charge? No, this was the funny part. I didn't know nothing about commissions. So first person came to me, I told him $25, 25 US. Cause I'm like, all right, 2.5. I didn't respect my. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't respect my art any at all. But then I'm saying nobody gonna pay this amount for my art. So I'm like, all right, let me just 25. He's like, all right, man jumped at the gun and said, all right, 25. Did that, loved it. He recommended this friend, and I started doing like a bunch of. Those people got off because I was doing a bunch of $25 US commissions. Then I remember there was somebody from the Jan group, the Jamaican Animation Network,
Nation.
or is Nation.
Jamaica
Sorry,
Animation Nation Network.
Kev, if you're in the chat, I apologize. I just don't do. I just know it as Jan. Um, but somebody from it said a guy saw my artwork and liked it, and off the bat he said, I told him the minimum you gonna do that for is $70 US. I'm like, that's a minimum. That's all I'm gonna do it for, because that's a big leap from my 25. And then I did it, and then I started setting that as my price now. And then it's like the more I went on, my pricing basically came from people. My change in pricing basically came from people coming to me and said, "This is all I have." And like the more they said that, and the more I met more professional people, it's like I'm realizing that yo, I've been undercharging myself about a year now, when I could have literally been making money. Because I even remembered an animation that I did. Not an animation. Yes, an animation where we used to do the live streams on YouTube, the coffee break thing. I remembered someone reached out to me and said, I needed to do an animation for me. The minimum I can give you though is I think 2,000 US. I'm like, hold on. Like that's when that hit me. Like when he told me 2,000 US, I'm like, people really out here paying. And then he's like, it's just a 1 minute something worth some simple animation. And I'm like, yo, I just did a whole 1 minute something music video for like 700 US dollars. Like a whole music video. Different characters, bunch of animation, bunch of girls dancing for 700. And this man just want me to animate one character. Couple little background movement and what? That's all. But at the same time, it's not that I underpriced myself, it's that I didn't know. Like, there's no way to really know how to price your art. Yeah, you go on online, you go talk to people like you gotta charge based on your time, your that, but how you still charge that? Sometimes if you're based on your time, you might say that per hour and you're finishing like 2 hours. What you do then? So I started working on it like depending on how much characters, depend like a set price. And that's why I don't like have a commission sheet or anything, because some people might want a character that's real detailed or realistic, that's a whole different price. Or anything outside of my comfort zone like lettering, I'd say no. Or Nathanael's sister, like I'd like say, okay, here's this Instagram. I don't do lettering. I can do the artwork for you, and you go over there and ask her to commission you for the lettering or something. But yeah, and like getting into it is like the more I realized as well, especially when I moved over like to Twitch and Twitter, I realized something that people might not like this, but do some artwork for free, especially if you're new. It's somewhat self marketing, because I did like a bunch of free emotes when I just went over to like the Twitch and Twitter thing, I did a bunch of free emotes. Bear in mind, I didn't do it for like to get like a name out there or anything. They were friends, people that supported me, and I'm like, I can support you back with some emote. And then I realized that I did emote for this person, I did emote for this other person, and then that person's network saw it, and he sent people over, she sent people over, and from them, from those free emotes, I could get a list of clients that always came back to me and those things. So in my experience, it's about finding a balance. Like, don't overprice people because I can't charge Jamaicans the same amount I charge US. I know a lot of people might be like, no, you have to. I'm like, I just can't. Like, personally to
Wait,
me, I
let's
just can't because one, they ain't gonna pay, and they gonna find somebody else to do it, and it's probably just gonna look not as good as what they wanted sometimes. Because sometimes they find the cheapest solution and those things. But what I would say is, if you do something free for it, you never know who that person knows. You would never know. That person might know some big names, and you do a free artwork for him, and the big names see that from him
hold on,
and come to
Davan.
you and put it.
Let's stick up.
Yeah.
Let's stick up in there because you made a couple points that I would like us to get back to later on, and we haven't gotten
Alright.
to everybody else about how them get.
Alright.
Yeah, so that's Davan how he got into the industry. He accident basically, and he's just let other people set his prices for a long time before he took charge of his pricing. Gashwayne, how'd you get into animation?
Into animation.
Yeah, like how'd you end up in the job that you have today?
I was working for a call center here in Jamaica, and I got a call from David Sutar, who was my lecturer in college at Manly, and he said he knew somebody who wanted a comic done, but they wanted to just get some characters out to get an idea of what the characters could look like. They have the descriptions, so I was like fine with it. I went. Um, no, actually, I was dealing with Sutar first. He sent me some descriptions, and I started doing some sketches. Then we eventually met up where the semi is now. Office was pretty much empty except for a table and a chair. So I went there after work um, and did some drawings for about 2 hours per day. At that time, it wasn't established that it was going to be a paid job or anything like that. But I wasn't expecting to be paid either. So I just did the work because I was interested in doing this comic. Over time, the comic developed more characters, and we realized that there was a need for more because I alone couldn't do the entire comic. So we got Jet on, and that's where the snowball started to really tumble
Who's Jed?
and start to pick up steam a bit.
Who's Jed?
Uh, who is Jet?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Jet, my coworker who was also at Edna Manley, and yeah, so we kind of worked at it part time until I decided that I was going to leave the call center to work there full time. Still at that point, I got money, but it wasn't a significant amount of money. But the call center job was really sucking my soul out, and it was also very like you'd work 1 month and then the next month you don't have any work. So I was just like, you know what, might as well I leave this place. So I started that working on League of Maroons. We tried to do the first episode, which took us I think a year and a half to finish, and yeah, we eventually tumbled into what the studio is now. You know.
Okay. can see your face, Gashwayne? Is it possible to see your face? Did you wash your face this morning?
I'd have to prepare my background isn't very tidy.
Okay.
So that's why it's off.
Davan, can I see your face?
Give me a webcam.
Pardon?
Give me a webcam.
Oh, you don't have a webcam. Joelle, how'd you fall into the job that you have now? How did you get to the job that you have now?
I got to the job that I had now. So in our third year, because I'm a graduate of UWI with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in animation. For the last year, they had an internship program, and Placing Me was one of the companies that I chose so that, if possible, I would like to intern there. So I came to Placing Me in 2018, met Jenille, Danielle, Gash, Jed, Kenya, Leo. And after 3 months, when the time was up, I remember asking Kenya, so we're going to do this thing next month? And she was like, yeah, we'll see. And that's how I started working there.
I remember your internship fondly. Your internship was nice. You used to bribe me with like banana chips.
Oh yeah, because I had to go and get snacks. Don't?
You didn't have to. You used to willingly do it.
No, it was like a rite of passage, like all internships, like even Shaggy and so. Remember when they used to go to Island by the mother and put them in the speakers? Yeah, that was our sacrifice. Just to please accept them.
Guys, our interns used to try and bribe us into keeping them, and it actually worked. It worked.
Yes, I'm here now.
Those are the good days. I've kept them as interns forever.
That's
Banana chip.
Always dangling the possibility of getting permanent job.
Davan, they were easily the best set of interns that we had, and not just for the bribing.
If anybody goes out and buy lunch from me, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna keep you around. I don't care what you can do.
No, we cared what they could do.
I wouldn't care.
Okay. Ikem, first of all, can we see a cute face? And second of all, how'd you fall into your current career path?
Okay, all right. I don't know if I can do the camera thing.
Okay.
But yeah, you can hear me though, right? Everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So I think it was my first year at Edna. I went straight from fifth form to Edna, right? I didn't really have any. I was supposed to go to sixth form, but then the subjects that I could do at the time, I didn't want to do them. So I ended up at Edna with my hope to go into film, which Edna didn't have they didn't even start the animation program then. They had this media, I forget what it's called, like time-based media that was an elective. And in time-based media, I did my first animation on some paper, you know what I mean? I think, I don't remember who the lecturer was, but I did that, and then I did another project, and I think, I never thought about animation really, because my whole thing was film. But I guess based on that class, Jakub Grant, he was like, yo, you want to film and I see you doing this animation thing, how would you like to do storyboards and probably illustrations for music video projects that they're working on and stuff. So it was Jakub and another lecturer, Abidan. I think he was like he came in every now and then. So they brought me on to some music videos where I did storyboards for video. And then Jakub started managing the Nomads. And he was like, okay, these guys are very animated. We need like an illustration of them and some for like the artwork, album artwork, and with the hope of doing like a full on animation. No, I didn't really know how to do all of that, and it sounded very like a lot of work. So I was like, okay, all right, well, I can do the illustration and stuff. And I think
Hey, did we work on that together? You can?
maybe we did. I think it was like a whole class thing, but I did
Was
like I think. Yeah, I'm not sure. Was it Leo? Leo would probably remember better than I,
yeah.
because he was there as well.
I think
Well, I
we tried
remember I
using
did.
Illustrator at some point
Yeah,
to like
But
get the
I
lines
remember-
clean.
yeah. No, oh no, that was a different thing. That was later. So that
Oh,
was
okay.
after. That was after that, because I remember I did two versions of an illustration that they ended up like mixing with like some photos, kind of like gorillas with the 2D drawing and then the background. And then I think it was like a whole class thing where they really wanted to do that animated video. So I think that's probably what you're remembering, like when they wanted to do the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, but yeah, after that, that was like the first thing that I feel like I did.
Oh,
That
Leo,
was
Leo in the
out
comments saying
there.
that it wasn't a class. It was just at Jacob's place. You guys were just at Jacob's place or something.
Well, I was working. Jacob would bring me onto sets outside of school, so yeah. So I remember that, but that class thing.
Let me.
Okay.
Okay, it's reconnected. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think at some point they decided to make it a class thing. Leo would have probably remember this a lot better because I think he was the head of, like, he was manning. I actually found this Basecamp room. There's this app called Basecamp, and I installed it the other day, and I realized that I had an account from Edna, and Leo was the organizer of that, and it was for a Nomads thing, which I think was the attempts to try the animated video, which I don't think got completed. Do you remember, Gashwayne, what happened to that? Like, we just did like a bunch
I
of,
don't remember.
yeah. But
And we
yeah,
were talking about, like, them time that we had, at least for me anyways, I was drawing like these frames on paper with my
Yeah.
mock-up light box,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So we came with these
Yeah.
bunch of drawings on white paper and we scanning them one by one. But
I
then
did
we
that
inked
too.
them manually,
Yeah.
so we were trying to figure out how to get the lines clean. So we used Illustrator and tried to do
Yeah, I
live
remember that.
trace. But then it ended up coming out like looking like Eddie and Eddie lines because the lines were all wobbly.
Yeah.
And then we're just like,
Yeah.
yo, this thing have a vibes, you know. I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
this thing have a
I remember.
vibes.
I remember that live trick because I think that was probably the first time I ever used Illustrator or anything too.
Yeah, man, that was a learning process, I swear.
Yeah. So yeah, with all of that animated thing never go on, but I think based on that being like my introduction to it, and I think they used it for the launch, like the illustration that I ended up doing. They put it like on a thing for the launch, like they had an album launch, and I think like I saw it printed out on it, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I did that and it's printed on a thing. It's real. I don't know. Yeah, it was like a thing. And then yeah, after that I think I just had I was still just wanting to do video and stuff, but I was getting into editing. And some Jermaine Wellington from RD Studios, he would link me to do, like edit some small stuff, and I think one time he asked me if I could do animation. And I think this was after doing some stuff at Edna. I was still at Edna, probably this is like second, third year. He was like, "Oh, I have this Burger King has this ad that they want to do for their Western burger thing, I think." And he was asking me if I could do it. I never really know if I could do it still, but I can do it. And then I just, you see me? I just try a thing. And I ended up making this loop of these cowboys and riding horses. And then I was learning After Effects as well, and I like drew this background, and then I duplicated all the horses and changed the colors, and you know what I mean, played it out and stuff. So yeah, that was like the first paid thing I think I did. And then based on that, it wasn't great, but I think it was good enough for what it was. So based on that and my interest, Jermaine started to just bring me on more freelance, like more work just as a freelancer. And I had done an internship with a director called Ras Casa as well. One summer, he had hired somebody to do an animated music video, and that person knew a bunch of people from Edna, and they called us on for help. That I don't think that it ended up working out. It was kind of like they over-promised on the stuff, and we never really know what we was doing. But while we were doing that for Ras Casa, during that process, I asked him if I could intern with him because I told him I wanted to be a director, and he was like, "Yeah, all right, come on." I think that was like during the summer, and yeah, he brought me on set as a PA, like a production assistant, like running around getting people food and stuff, and like a couple shoots, and I also did storyboards. And I think based on that experience, like it kind of gave me the confidence to start trying projects on my own. So I saw a local band called Acmatic, and I told them, "Yo, I want to do a music video for you guys. I think you guys making really cool music."
You're still doing that, Ikem. Finding like
Yeah,
local artists and just making music videos for them. You're still doing that.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that was the first project that I organized myself for, the song called Silver Nimbus. And made a lot of mistakes with that, but I think it came out pretty decent. It got played on local TV, which was like the first time I did something that came out of my brain, and I saw it on TV. So I was like, damn, this is... I mean, I was very anxious at the time. I didn't even get to go to the premiere out of anxiety because I wasn't sure if it was good, and I was doubting myself and stuff. But yeah, I think people seem to like it. And even the other day, Coney lives, Carlon. I don't know if I pronounce it. I always saying Cone. But yeah, Carlon Edmonds was on Twitter, and he posted the Silver Nimbus video and was like, "Yo, 10 years ago, I saw this on TV and it changed my whole perception about what could come out of Jamaica and stuff." And he's somebody who I always look up to as like, oh, that's somebody who's kind of weird in the ways that I'm weird, which I don't think... I mean, I know there are a lot of people who are interested in the same things I'm interested in, but I guess it's always, especially pre-internet, I didn't really have the space or the opportunities to interact with people like that. So whenever I see people who are like that from Jamaica, I always kind of gravitate towards them. So the fact that he was somebody who I gravitated towards because of that, and then he was saying that, something that I did that I wasn't really sure about influenced him in a way. It kind of was like this full circle, like, wow, life really is like a thing, huh?
I just want to interject here, Ikem, but like a lot even in this group that happened a lot because you went to Edna and somebody gave you a chance to do something and like they influenced you and then you turned around and influenced people because your interest in film was what started like the film club at Edna. And before I got to Edna, I wasn't that invested in like film and like storytelling in that way. And I went to Edna and fell into like that film club and into like the same friend group that you were into. And then I come out of Edna and find people who were in school with me that I didn't know. And even when you were out of school, you turned around and you were helping me with my film. So like I think you've had a lot of influences in ways that you haven't really you might not have considered before, which is dope. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. To be honest, like it is really good that you're saying that. Oh, I didn't start the film club, by the way. I should.
Yeah, but
say that. So, but
yeah, but like you're known for when you were at school, that's what you were known for. At least one of the things you were known for.
Yeah, SV film series. But yeah, that is, you saying that is really interesting because I think, I think I'm pretty hard on myself, which is something that I think I've said to you multiple times, not to be so hard on yourself with certain things.
I know you're talking to yourself when you say that to me. Honestly, I know you're talking to.
Yeah, so I'm pretty hard on myself with certain things, so I don't really step back and kind of appreciate it. So sometimes when like something happens and I get to see it, like the universe pushing it to my face, say, look at this, look, it's kind of like, sometimes it comes after a rough period, but it's kind of a joyous, thing to see it. So yeah, I think everybody should just maybe take a step back every now and then and just look at where they're coming from and what they're doing and stuff. And I think also, I've been trying to interact more because I realize, you always make that joke about how I'm like a hermit. And I think in many ways that's true. But I'm trying to change that. And I think it's been very cool to, I guess just to see more what everybody's doing and participating more. Even this event, this is a big deal for me. I don't know about anybody else, but like I go on the site and I'm like, yo, damn, this is sick. What's going on? This is pretty cool. So
a big deal, man.
Yeah.
So
number 3 at KFC. Big deal.
So alright, so you were in school and like from your start school you started doing like little odd jobs and they built up until you left school and you just kept doing that. So you had like a reputation by then and you just that's why you've still been doing like freelance work the way that you've been doing it.
Yeah, like Danielle was saying earlier how she didn't really try to get work, she just put her stuff out there. I think that's kind of like how it has been for me, fortunately. Because I realized that, I've been doing this for almost 10 years and I've never put out an ad or anything, but I guess just word of mouth, which is pretty fortunate. I don't think there's sometimes when it's just this year, actually, well, probably 2 years ago, I started learning about marketing and like business and stuff, which I hadn't before. And I think learning stuff about that has kind of changed how I'm perceiving myself as, I don't want to say brand. Yeah, I guess how I'm like I see now how I might look to other people when sometimes I just feel like, oh, I'm just a guy who just does his stuff. But I think, and that has been important because I think it's allowed me to be more, what's the word? Be a lot more directional, to have more of a direction with the stuff that I'm doing and organizing. And like the other day I went through all my invoices and created like a client list of people I've worked for and like a number and stuff, and organized my invoices. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it kind of took me on like this whole nostalgia trip, because I'm like, oh damn, I didn't even remember I did this thing. But organizing and stuff like that has allowed me to see or remember my mistakes better, and ways that I can improve how I offer services to people and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess just kind of changing the mindset about how to approach doing this as a business. And I don't think I've reached the point where it's actually sustainable, which is crazy considering it's 10 years. So moving in that direction, I think, is something that I'm trying to do. And yeah,
Thank you.
that's it. Is there any more stuff?
Nathanael, how'd you fall into this career path? How did you fall into like this
Like
way?
I used to fall in. It really felt like a drop.
First of all, can I see your face? Is it too much to ask to see your face? I know your camera's working. But
It's alright. So I'm having an issue with my laptop camera is terrible. Like, my background is not so great either. But I would use my tablet, but I can't use the audio from my mic
it's
if I switch to
fine.
my tablet.
Leave it alone.
Sign language.
I will try to figure something out for the next couple of talks.
Sure.
So we'll work it out. But for now, it's gonna be off. Sorry. Yes. So, well, how did I get into this industry? Well, after high school, I was trying really hard to get into an art school abroad, and then that was just not working.
Point of
I ended up-
information, Nathanael and I were in the same graduating class.
Oh yes. I've known Jenny from a taller time. So,
like 12
by the time I got
possibly.
by the time I got into sixth form, that was when I really decided that I wanted to do animation, because before that I wanted to be an architect. And I was like, I don't really feel like drawing buildings for the rest of my life. And if I wanted to, I could also do that within the animation industry. Looked for schools, couldn't afford it really. I got into, SCAD, and I had scholarships, but it still wasn't enough to get abroad. So I ended up, my backup plan was to get a bachelor's in technology. And so I went to UA to do IT, actually. I got into Edna, and I didn't think it was a good idea to get two bachelors in fine arts, because at the time I didn't understand how that worked, really. But I didn't want to go to Edna and do illustration and then go somewhere else and do animation after. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make myself a little bit more marketable, and I'm gonna go do IT with the intention to specialize in, ironically, web design. So while I was at UA, I was still trying to get into schools abroad, but that wasn't looking too great. And in the second year there, Kingston popped up for the first time in Jamaica. And one of my lecturers had mentioned it to me, because he was part of the board, like helping them set it up, because it was happening at UA. And he's like, oh, I know you animate, because that was kind of, a lot of people knew me at UA because of art. Because it was just very strange in that setting. It's like, oh wow, you're like an artist, but you're in like technology. That's not really like a thing. So especially in like user interface design and stuff like that, it was, most people were more technical in, all right, we can get the program to work, but it doesn't look good. And I was just like, I I care about it looking good more than I care about it working efficiently. So like my stuff would work, but it would look good while working. And lecturers took notice of that. And so one of my lecturers knew that I was into animation because I had mentioned it. I
So
remember we had an assignment.
So you started
once
animating
where,
before you got to UE.
yeah. Well, I mean, oh, right. I should mention that. So the first animation I did was at high school. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember now.
But
That's why I'm asking.
I did it for I and IA, and they didn't know how to grade it because that wasn't done. It was just like, oh, you're supposed to do something new for your project, and I decided, hey, I want to do animation, so I'm gonna figure it out, and I did like 100 and something or 200 and something frames of hand-drawn animation, and figured out the hard way that scanning and inking was the bane of my existence, and I never wanted to do it again, which is how I got into digital art after, because I was like, yo, there has to be a more efficient way of doing this. But yeah, that was the first animation I did. So at that point in time, I was still just teaching myself and learning before I got to UE. And so they knew me for that kind of thing while I was there. And the lecturer pointed out that, oh, Kingston is happening, you should check it out. And so I did. I remember the day that I went there, I ended up taking part in a 1 week like workshop or something like that. Yeah. And I met one of my, well, to be teacher and then co-worker, Diane, good friend of mine, taught me a lot. And I met a lot of good people like Don and Adam from Capilano, and mentors of mine, and a couple other people that I wasn't used to being in a setting where, other artists outside of art class in high school, because I spent 2 years at UA around people who just didn't do art. So then that was really the first introduction I got to, hey, yo, animation is actually going somewhere in Jamaica. Maybe I can like get into this a little bit more without having to go abroad. So I did the workshop, and then they had mentioned that they were going to launch some course at Karamak. I think it was like about during summertime that it had popped up. And my parents showed it to me, and it was like, hey, yo, there's this course that's happening at UE. Well, it's happening at Karamak. Would you want to do that instead? And so I said, yeah. So I basically dropped out of IT to go do this crash course. But it was only 6 months, and Diane was teaching it. And so the idea was a crash course in animation because I needed to hire extra people to work at GSW. And so for 6 months, every day, Monday to Sunday, was class. And you just had to cram as much information into us as possible. Mostly it was about the software. We did not get to focus too much on the drawing aspect of it, which was really sad. It bummed me out because like animation is an art more than anything else. Like it is where we are using technology, but like anybody here can tell you that you really do need to have some knowledge of art. And it was taking some of the fun out of it, honestly. But I still enjoyed, that was the first time that I got to do what I really loved. And so those 6 months were like great. That's when Adam Wanlist was inside that class with me. Two of my other friends, Leo and Kevin.
Adam, who also left.
Well, Kevin was there with me. Leo, I met one of my close friends. He does animation as well.
Leopold.
I met him at UA while doing IT. But yeah, that was my first introduction really into the animation world. After that 6 months course, which Karamak, in my opinion, kind of blew out to proportion. And they're like, oh yes, graduation. And I'm like, guys, it was 6 months. Why is there a big ceremony and newspaper articles and the media was there? And that was just made me very uncomfortable. But I started working at GSW right after, so I kind of just jumped. That was my first job. I just jumped straight into studio work. I had no clue what I was doing because up to that point, I was self-taught. And then the 6 month course, as I said, it wasn't really heavily focused on drawing. Diane kind of just had to rush through the 12 principles of animation and give us assignments in like a week. We did an assignment based on a principle and then just moved on. And so a lot of it was just self-taught up until that point. Granted, she did sneak me a couple extra books and things that I could read and get a little better in my own time. But yeah, I started working at GSW. I learned a whole lot from the people that were there. Besides Diane, you know, Corey and Greg and Crystal and the entire team. Like I won't call out everybody's name. I'm sorry if I don't right now because I really miss working with them. Nevins, especially.
I see
I don't know where
Nevins
Nevins is right now, but I miss working with them a lot. It was great being in that environment, and I learned so much in that space. I got to work with my best friends, Adam and Leo and Kevin were there with me as well.
Dog, I'm here dropping comments on your little speech right now, and when I realize I'm muted.
Oh.
Okay, never mind. It's gone. It's fine.
But yeah, that was my first experience in the animation industry locally, and we worked on a lot of international product. Well, I worked on like at least 3 or 4 international projects while I was there, so it was really good learning experience.
Let's not talk about those experiences.
Yeah, I am not going to bring up. I'm not going to bring up those projects at all.
Let's just leave those alone.
Let's skim over this. So after I left, it was like a year and a half. I left because it wasn't working out for me personally. That's as much as I'll say. And so I left to go find another job that I could sustain myself a little bit better, in hopes of, moving out and making a living. And so I started freelancing around that time. I wasn't planning on taking it seriously. It was just kind of, I can do a 1-2 job here and there and make a little extra money while I'm working a 9 to 5. Because the thing is, the 9 to 5 job that I got at the time wasn't what I wanted to do at all. Like, it wasn't animation related. It was still creative. It was still a creative profession, but I wasn't getting to even illustrate or anything. And so that really bummed me out. But on the weekends, I would try to do some freelance work. At the time, it was just mainly animation and illustration work. So since GSW, I hadn't done a lot of animation work for years. I kept trying, but animation sucks up so much time. People kept asking yo, how come I don't see nothing from you? And I'm like, yo, I'm trying to just live. I'm just trying to make money right now to pay bills and stuff. So, and then when I had free time to put out work to keep myself relevant, on social media, the fastest thing to get up was an illustration. And even then, fast is relative because I'm spending upwards of 8 hours on one piece to post for interaction for a day, and then that's it. It's and so between working different jobs, I worked at 2 jobs at the time. After that second job, then I left there and I got another job. I was still freelancing on the side until eventually I was just I can make more money as a freelancer than I am at this job. And so I just stopped, and that was 4 or 5 years ago. And so I just started freelancing at that point in time. So I've mainly been doing illustration work. Unlike what Davan was saying earlier, I had high value for what I was capable of doing, and I wasn't really willing to drop my price because I understood how much work it was. Especially after working in the studio first, I was I'm not taking on this amount of work if it's going to suck up so much of my time that I can only pay the bill for the month. That's not a good investment. Yeah, I would be able to put stuff in my portfolio and everything. And I agree with what he said about doing some things for free because it expands your network. It depends on who you do it for free, though. Don't just pick some random people necessarily, or something that you're not passionate about, in my opinion. Don't pick, this can make me some money or get me some network, and then you just pick something to do for that person. My advice would just be, pick something that you really care about. If you really like the environment or something, you like animals, kind of like me, do free things for stuff like that. that you
Like
know that
Dream
you can
Dust?
enjoy. Sorry?
Like Dream Dust, because like this whole
Yeah, like-
thing is basically
yeah.
volunteer work.
Yeah, precisely. And so stuff like this is like, you know, pick something that you definitely are passionate about if you're going to do anything for free, because that is your compensation for monetary gain. You know, if you're not going to get the money from it, you need to feel proud about it. You need to feel like you can put it in your portfolio. You know, something, there has to be some gain from it. You can't just be dishing out free work in the hopes that you get network from it. I don't agree with that. So kind of like what Ikem does. Ikem does a lot of work and inspires a lot of people. I think that's very beneficial. Like, just he enjoys doing it, and a lot of people benefit from it as well. Cases like that. But for me, I just couldn't really find a space to do animation, because I was just like, it takes up so much time, and I really need to make money. So I ended up doing a lot of illustration work, and I took on a whole lot of things that I'm not really too interested in doing. I can do it. It's not that I want to, but I can. And I love my clients, I do. And I appreciate the support. But yeah, most of what I do is not animation related. It's not until 2-3 years ago I did the first proper animation project. It was like a minute, well, 40 seconds to a minute long, for MSC McKay. It was kind of like an introduction video to what do I call that? To their services that they offer at. So if anybody owns a car, you probably have to go there to get it evaluated and stuff like that. Sammy, my sister, designed the logo for them, and I ended up doing the little character designs for the car and the animation itself. So big up Jovan Yep and Michelle Yep, his mom, anyway today, because I really appreciated that. But yeah, that was properly paid for, and I enjoyed myself. It's in my portfolio right now. Out in the world, kind of like what Ikem was saying, is like, you see something tangible for the first time, and you're like, yo, this shot, like, this can be a thing, you know. So that gave me a lot of encouragement to keep going. Like, Jamaica is not hopeless in that regards, and there are people out there willing to pay the money for it. It's just, am I willing to wait? And so that was my approach. It's like, I'm not going to take the time and make a little bit of money off of the quality of work that I'm going to put out. I'd rather just tell people the price, even though it was significantly dropped. It's still not the price that it should be at. I still have to drop my price for our market. But just so you can introduce to them, you pitch a solution to people who need it. That's I kind of trying to meet them halfway, where it's still sustainable for me, but then they can still afford it in their budget. So I appreciate when clients actually negotiate with you on your prices. I don't mind personally. It's not offensive if you say, yo, I can't really afford that, and then you tell me how much, and then maybe we can work something out. I'll let you know if it's possible. But that's really how I ended up in the industry. I still don't do as much animation as I would like, and I'm still stuck in that same place where it takes so much time that it's really hard to do anything in my free time. But I'm trying to work around that now and do a couple of little extra smaller things. So we're working up to it, really. But since a couple of years back, when I was actually working in the industry, like at a studio, sadly I haven't done a whole lot since that time, and that was probably the most I learned. But yeah, I'm still freelancing now. I'm still working on some stuff. Hopefully have some more animation stuff to do soon. So there will be more personal project related as well. There will definitely be more in the next couple of years.
Okay, thanks, Nathanael. Danielle, how you end up where?
Hello. Huh?
How have you? How has your, like, how did you end up where you are right now? Like, what was that journey like? You can be as brief as you like. I know you're uncomfortable with this sort of thing.
Oh, well, stubbornness. I wrote it down.
Okay.
Stubbornness. The support of my mother, right, and just having a dream of like not knowing how you're going to get there. also I also felt as if like not animation, but art was my only career path, right? I wasn't good at other subjects, so art was it. Let's see, what else did I write? I started coming. I started. Oh yeah. Ah man, I'm freezing up now.
Okay. So I met you in Edna, but I think I was like in my second year. This was after my deferral year. What were you doing then? Like I had just found you online at the time and I didn't know who you were. What were you doing then?
I was.
I think you were still on Facebook at the time with your art.
Hold on. I feel as if I'm having a little nervous breakdown.
Oh no! You want me to just leave it and then like we'll come back to you later? Okay. All right. So well, I guess I can do like a brief summary of what Danielle did. So like I met her in Edna, and I was still bulldozing, well, being bullheaded about the whole animation thing. And I had just found her work online and I saw her work. I'm like, this girl is going to be something. Like her work wasn't technically good, but it had like this sort of appeal to it that I really liked. And then so by the time and she was very cute. So by the time that I got to final year and I needed help doing my final year project, I called her up and she helped me like do some cleanup and coloring, which she took to well. And by the time I left final year, there was the Korean Trust Fund that was there to send people to Korea.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were part of that, all of us were.
And like I applied, and like the day before the deadline I was like, Danielle really wants to go to Korea. So I called her and I was like, apply. And she
So wait, hold on. You did link her to join?
Dog, you'll find that this is the characteristic of me and Danielle's relationship. I will tell her to do something.
You're a G. Because, alright, first of all, Jenny is who linked me as well. And she always message me for anything that's happening animation wise in Jamaica. Jenny's just like, yo, Nathanael, this is a space that you might want to be in. Check it out. She's always linking me to things. So I find it hilarious that you actually link her and she was the one that ended
up. So yeah, so I called her the night before the deadline and she stayed up the night with her friend and she sorted out her portfolio. And then she got it. And then I got shortlisted, but I didn't get it. I was like, you know what? God has a plan. So so I was like really hyped for her, and she went. But before she went, I was working at Lissime at the time, and there was this client came in and he wanted us to do a thing. And long story short, we're like, Danielle, I know a girl. Danielle will be like the best choice for that, and she had some previous involvement with the project. So that was Danielle's first official studio job. Also,
really?
So like Lissime was like, she spent like a few months, I don't remember how long, there. And then as soon as she left Lissime, she went to Korea for like 7 months. And then she came back and she was here for like a year or so, and she was doing like freelance stuff. You see, this is why it's good to be friends, so that you know them history. So she was doing freelance stuff.
Networking is super important,
yes,
especially in a small community. It's a niche market internationally, so like it makes it even worse locally. You have to know people.
So like so she was here and she was doing like small jobs, small commissions for people. Not that I know all of them, obviously, because she have her own life. And then Kingston came along and I was like, you doing Kingston? And she was like, yeah. And then she entered Kingston and she won that too. And then from...
that's hilarious. I met Danielle at, I think, the first Kingston, just in passing. I didn't like get to like talk to her.
Yeah, 2017 2016.
2016. Yeah, I remember seeing you, and I was just like, "Yo, that girl's work is amazing."
Yeah,
It was really good work. I didn't get to meet her though, and then obviously other King students passed, and it was just kind of like a point, like, "Hey, you, I know you."
and then like so she won Kings. That was last year.
Yeah, it was last.
Yeah.
Was it last year? Was it last year?
2019. Yo,
Yeah,
2020 has been like 5 years on, guys. That was 2019.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was last year. Wow.
So she went abroad for like a course for a few months, and then she came back, and she's been like freelancing ever since, and like working on her personal project. So that was the last 5 years of my French. No, last 6 or 7 years of my friendship with Danielle. I don't really know the fine details, of course, but like that was a broad stroke of her background. So how I got into animation, like I graduated with Adam Wanlis and Nathanael. Hey, Nathanael was doing animation for IA in school. I did a comic instead because I never figured out the animation thing yet. So we left. So we got like sixth form, and then so we left high school. Nathanael went to UA. He didn't go to SCAD, and I went to Edna. And in my first year, I met Leo Rule, and Leo Rule is like our art director now at Listening. And Ikem was like in his third year, and Gashwayne was in his third year as well. And Leo was like, he phoned me, and he went through my sketchbook, and he's like, "Oh, you can draw," because not everybody who comes to Edna can draw. Some people want to do other stuff. So he was like, "What you want to do?" And I was like, "Animation." He was like, "Jenille, don't teach animation here." I was like, "I know." He's like, and he gave me like the best advice. He was like, "You're going to have to teach yourself how to animate." And I don't think I started immediately. What I did was fail some graphics class in my first year, which I'm terrible at graphics, but anyway, I failed it. But I shouldn't have failed it because I wanted to focus in illustration, and for me to get to illustration, I need to pass through graphics. So after I had
that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
No,
but
but
doesn't make any sense.
It sounds like it doesn't make any sense, but it does, because like as you go along, you realize that design is so important, even like the basic knowledge of
I agree
design.
with that. All right, fine.
So like that was their solution. Teach your graphics in your first year. If you don't pass through graphics, you cannot focus on illustration, because the illustration is probably going to be rubbish.
That's true. Especially the type of illustration they taught at Edna, it was definitely geared towards relaying information, so you would have to be strong in graphics to do that. That's true.
Okay, so
I retract my statement.
So I failed that, but then like I took a year of deferral. I remember what Leo said, and I figured out how to animate like on pencil and paper, just like how you did it in like sixth form. I did the pencil and paper, and I did the scanning thing, and
chaos.
And no, I enjoyed it. I liked it.
What?
I did not like cleaning it up. I didn't clean up anything. You cleaned up stuff. I didn't clean up anything. And to this day, I'm still terrible at cleaning up.
Because that was the issue. Like, drawing it was fun, and doing the entire animation was fine. But it was really when you got to scanning it that I noticed, oh crap, I have to ink this for the scanner to pick it up. And that's when I realized I don't like inking. It's so annoying.
I didn't scan it. There was like this little photography equipment that I could use in like the photography department, and the lecturer there, Zaka, she really likes it when students take charge of like their own education and just do projects, because her whole department at the time wasn't really a department there. So anybody who was doing photography was doing it on their own, under their own direction and their own free will. So she was really for students doing stuff on their own. So she let me use her light box. I was just in there for hours using her light box, and she let me use her equipment, and I'd take photos of the paper and then string them together in like Windows Movie Maker. And those are my first animations.
Big up Windows.
Big ups to Zaka, because she was really supportive, and she didn't have to. She could have just kicked me out of her department, but she didn't.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so that went on for like a few years. So after I took my first year, then my deferral year, and then I got to my second year, they started animation at Edna. I was like, I'm not going back. I'm leaving this school. I don't actually enjoy being in school. Like, I like learning, but I don't like doing
Yeah.
it in a school setting. So I'm like, I'm going full speed ahead. And that's what I did. So so in that time, I had made friends with Ikem, and I still kept my association with you. I met Danielle. Leo had left. So when I got to my final year, said I was going to do animation. Through Ikem, I had met some other friends. I had known Samantha from before, but like Samantha was also in this, as in Nathanael's sister. Samantha was also friends with Ikem and friends with like Taj and Kokab, and then I had another friend, Naisel, who was friends with other people, and then like, we all had the same interests, and because we had overlapping people, we basically became one big group. So
Yeah.
so when I got to final year, I said I need help, and a lot of those people, Danielle, Kokab, not Samantha, Nathanael, Blue, Naisia, Jonathan, like 10 people, you, Nathanael, Taj, like 10 people came, and like, I'm going to do the water animation here, I'm going to do the water animation there, I'm going to design these trees here, I'm going to design this scene here, I'm going to color this stuff for you. And like, he composited the thing on a bus. After him win a competition, Tony Grill sent it to me, and that was my final year experience. I really had the oh, Matthew's
I
in the
heard you
chat.
tell that story, and that just blew my mind. I was like, you were on a bus, Ikem, and you rendered out the video.
Ikem did more than that. He basically taught me how to talk to somebody in post production, because like I had this really stressful day, and like he did something and it wasn't quite right, and I did not send the notes the way that I should have, and he was like, okay, this is how you need to learn how to talk to people. And he gave me like my hard drive that I have right now, that I'm still using right now. He gave me my first hard drive, just like out of the kindness of my heart. Ikem was like the MVP. Ikem, Danielle, and Koka were the MVPs of my final year project. Like, it would not have happened without those three people. And then, so I left final year. I did my final year show, which is an exhibition show, a curated version of the exam for people to see. And then Kenya, who is the owner or the CEO of Listen Me Caribbean, the studio that I'm working at now, she appeared. And she saw my final year film, and it was a whole ass film. Sorry, it was a whole film. It was 3 minutes 45 seconds. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I want to sleep. I am tired. I just want to sleep for like a month." And a month after that conversation, she hired me, and that's how I re-met Gashwayne and Jet. Oh yeah, Jet was a friend, and he was already working with Gashwayne and Kenya, and he was the one who suggested me to Kenya. That's how Kenya found me in the first place. And I've been rocking with them since. And not Gashwayne, Ikem asked me for help on a project for like a local artist that him find, and him doing a music video for Royal Blue. And I helped him with it, and somebody found a piece of my animation that I did in that music video and hired me for another music video this year. And that basically kicked off like my freelance career. So for all of Corona, basically I've been doing freelance and listening stuff through the grace of Ikem. And
good news, because I don't know how you manage that kind of workload.
lots of organization and lots of help. I ask for help a lot. That's why I'm a big advocate for help. And I guess I overlooked this, but like in my deferral year between first year and second year, I went to the first Kingston, and I met up again with Nathanael, and I met somebody at the first Kingston who I knew from church. I call her Auntie Sabrina because she knew me when I was 6, and I hadn't seen her since then. And she was working with another studio, Skyriz, and they had seen my animation online, but they didn't know that it was me. And they were like, "Yo, just come to the studio and we'll teach you how to use Toon Boom and anything this." So like I went to the studio and I learned how to use Toon Boom, and that was like my first experience on like a team. Everybody was learning, but there were still people there who were way better than me. and they helped me learn, and I kept up with them. Like, there was, man, like your experience, Nathaniel's experiences with working on like international product projects coincided with my experiences at Skyrays, which was happening when I was at school. So I'd leave school, walk from Edna, go to Half a Tree, and be there till like 12 o'clock in the night, and then they drop me off at home, and then I'd go to sleep for a few hours, wake up, go to school, and then repeat the whole process. So I've been living this double life for quite a while now. So yeah, that's how.
I never know you were at school during that time too.
Yeah, dog. Yes, I was at school.
I would have, but I dropped out of IT.
Yeah, I know.
So I was just working. It was just GSW at the time.
I kind of wished that I had dropped out of Edna because Karimak was there.
Clearly it did benefit, so.
Well, no, it's not that, because I don't like being in school. So I would have just gone to Karimak, learned how to use the program, and then be done in 6 months.
That's true. Because if you're in that course with you, it would have been a really good crash course.
Yeah, so, but
Probably
I guess
same school fee too, so.
I got there in the end, so there's no use.
Yeah, why not?
There's no use crying about it now. So yeah, that's how I got to this point. Like how do you guys find jobs? Like I know I don't look for commissions, they just appear. I don't know how to make sure that they keep coming in my direction. Ikem, I don't know how you do it. Danielle, Gashwayne, easy. How do you guys find work?
Work, I don't find work. Work finds me. Like literally, that's why I even stopped posting on Instagram. I'm like, I will have like 5 commissions to do, and then I post one I completed on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see 5 more come in. I literally have to reach a point now. No, this is where I start jacking up my prices. I'm like, yo, y'all won't pay. Like, I'm trying to scare clients with my price now. And some of them is like,
It doesn't work.
I'm like, wait. I got it. Just give me 6 months or give me 3 months. I'll find them. And I'm like, damn it. Like, you get to a point where it's at the point where I'm like, can y'all stop now for a while? Can y'all just breeze for a while? Even when I say, yo, finish commissions, they're like, I'm closing commissions. Y'all won't see me in 3 months. They're like, we'll wait.
But you know you're good though.
And I'm like, yo, I tried to scare them with prices, delay.
I want that superpower.
Boy, I don't know, you have to pick your word wisely with that one.
Yeah,
yes.
I know everybody says that it's so good, but yo, I'm like, can I get some time for myself? Like, I'm afraid to even work on a personal project now, because I feel like I'm like ignoring everybody else.
Yeah, it's not a nice feeling when you have like constant client work, and then you can't work on your own stuff because you feel guilty that a client is going to be looking at you like, oh my gosh, where's my piece? Why are you not working on my work?
Exactly.
So I only ever end up working.
That's the good life.
No,
So
but
on perspective, that's like the good life. I'm just like, you guys are making money, man. You're making dough.
no, but that's the thing though, Davan and Nathanael. If you have so much work that you can reject it,
You're passed up.
I'm
passed it up.
I've tried.
I'm of the opinion that like I can redirect the work somewhere else. Like I know people who can do this work, so I'd rather just redirect the work to them if I need time for that. I have done that. Like if I need
I started
time.
doing that too.
Yeah, I did. I started doing that a lot. Like, but like some of them will look at another. It's like some people will want your style specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that client tell me that.
That's the only thing. Like,
I'm like, hey, I know a guy that does this really well.
Yeah, cause like I've had times where I said, okay, go to that person, and they're like, nah, I want it how exactly. They will even pick up recent artwork from you and say, I want it exactly in this style. This is what I've been looking for. It's gotten so much. The only thing too with the commission, like before I got so much commission, I would be trying new stuff every day, like to get better at art. I feel like with this back-to-back commission, I have to stick in one, like find a routine where it's like, okay, base color, shadow, that like I can't even experiment anymore because I'm gonna lose time with a style or or anything. I have to just give it. I don't feel any growth. Like I've been trying
You
to.
say increasing your price doesn't help.
No, they
Because
most of my people. This is where I find out like it's sad to say, but Jamaica really don't care about art like that or respect the price. Like you have I have a client where he just wants like a A in a fancy style and he's willing to pay me 100. I'm like, yo, I literally told him just 100. Like I have that for certain artwork that I do, and I just gave him that price because I didn't want to do it. And he's like, all right, here's 100 PayPal. He sent me the money before I even made an agreement. I'm like, yo. And
you can charge more next time then.
you could, but that's the thing is, it just takes one client to accept your price for you to realize that your price was too low before. And so you set your price at a certain point, and you're just like you think that I don't think anybody's gonna be able to pay this, and nobody in Jamaica's budget is too high. But the thing is, a lot of us start out that way, where you underprice your work because you think nobody can pay for it, and then one day you just get tired. You're just like, yo, I don't want this, and I'm gonna charge them full price, how much I think it's worth, or even overcharge some people because you don't want the work, and then they go, okay, and you're just like, what? He's like, okay, yeah, so how long is it going to take? I'm like, no. And at that point in time, you can't back out and say, oh, I'm busy. Or
you already give it.
You already said yes, and you already said, here's the price. Now, I don't have a whole lot of experience like that, luckily, but I have had that experience before.
And one thing I know some people might say, like, just back out, like, honestly, one thing I find in this field is, like, you don't like tarnish our relationship. Like if you say you're gonna do something and then don't do it and follow through, like your name will, cause like you don't know who that person knows. Like that person might be like have a bunch of friends, like you got anybody, I saw this person, they're like, nah, that person ain't gonna do it, he gonna take forever, he gonna do this,
I've heard it too.
You have to be careful. You have to understand when to say no and when to know that you can't do something.
Which is why it's also important that we know each other, because you can rely on the friends in this network that they're also reputable, and you can vouch for them to say, yo, they'll get the work done, because you never want to recommend somebody to some random person you're not sure about their work ethic, and then the person come back to you like, yo, want to that person that you did recommend me to, and they look bad on you too, because so stuff like that.
One thing I did learn though, one thing that animation did teach me though, is that like when you have a team, like a good team, like work ain't bad. Because like I know a lot of people when they first start animation, they're like, okay, I gotta do a whole short film by myself, I gotta do a whole series by myself, and then like when you're in the work environment, like working on certain projects, like some high class projects, you're like,
they don't know how to delegate.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I remember when I was at the studio and Fran was there, and Fran said, yo, all you need to do is do 2 scenes. That person can, I'm like, just 2 scenes and I'm done, just 2. I'm like, yeah, just 2, just focus on your 2, because you have times when like you see how much scenes you have to do, and somehow in your head you think that you have to do all of those scenes. Like you'll sit down and you'll be like, how we gonna get this done? And like it's just about having like a good team and having, like I said, faith and trust in them to know that they're gonna get it done. I remember even the joy I got to animate, and I hate doing lip syncing. But there was this guy at the studio, I think it was after you left, Nathanael. This man, whole world was just lip syncing. Like I would do this entire animation and just pass it on to him, and the man got that done. And that's when I learned that you don't need to do the whole workload by yourself.
It's like what I wanted to do was specialize in special effects. Like that's all I cared about doing. Because even when we were working together, that's what they did. You guys worked on the animation. Even though I could do it and I liked it, y'all just passed off everything when it was done to me, and I worked on the special effects. And that was great. I liked doing that. I'm just like, I get to actually do what I like doing and then only focus on that, and everybody else gets to divide and conquer.
And that's the thing that I figure out as well. everybody wants to specialize, but then I realized that in what can I say? In Jamaica, because animation is new, you gonna have everybody gonna have to can do everything.
Everything, yeah.
Like you don't even have the leeway to say, okay, you just do that, you just do this. Like you can do that, but I'm gonna need you to do this as well.
Danielle, Gashwayne, Ikem, Joelle, how do you guys get jobs?
Wait, I haven't heard from Joel's ex backstory yet.
No, we have, didn't we?
Yeah, banana chips bribing.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah,
Gashwayne?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like how do you guys find jobs?
Just by wait.
Oh, go on.
Oh, just by posting art. Like also kind of trying to target like the big industries like Netflix and so on to hope that they can follow you and notice you.
Does
And
that
it
work
just
for you?
like I haven't gotten any Netflix people, but I've gotten
Yeah, neither have I tried.
I've gotten one, which is pretty new. And like storybook companies. Like I also just got some person recently that wanted me to do a children's book for them that works in New York, and that was from ArtStation. So I just leave my work up and I just sometimes promote my art, but when I promote my art to sell it, I don't get any work. When I
People
leave
don't
it,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, when I leave it alone, it's like somebody's coming, and then the next person is coming, and then I didn't do anything to that point. So it's all luck. I feel
Yeah,
as if
it really does. Because the moment you put a price on anything or say, hey guys, come support me, all of a sudden everybody disappears. It's like, this is when I need you. Where are you?
I mean, the stuff that we describe about putting up stuff and people noticing it and seeing it, I realize now that that would fall under content marketing, right? So that thing about putting the price, there is, I think, some precedent for why that maybe doesn't work, which has to do with positioning, right? So one thing you see some people do, you'll see they create a YouTube channel where they do tutorials or they do like they create a show around whatever it is they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And when you do that, you not only you're providing value first off, which is something that will bring people coming back, even if it's people that not going to pay you, like people who are within the industry who can benefit from your knowledge or think something that you discovered or anything really, will see you and keep coming back to you for like, oh, you know, they're really good at doing these, you know, animated textures in After Effects, for example. There's this guy named Ben Marriott who's like that. I follow him on YouTube, and he like does these really good thing, and he does these really good tutorials on animated textures, like procedural textures and stuff like that. And then he started doing a show the other day called The Best of Whatever, where he just showcases motion graphics projects that he's seen that he likes, right? And he's positioning himself not only as an expert in motion graphics because of these tutorials where he's like, maybe him just discover a cool way to do something and him just share the knowledge, but then he's also, you know, creating a platform to show other people's work as well.
Yeah.
So people are coming to him for those two things, and then based on that, they'll probably link him for some work. If they have something that come to mind, they're like, oh, you know, Ben Marriott, he does this exact thing. Versus just, you know, putting out your work and just saying, yo, buy this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because, yeah,
You know,
so
It leads back into the whole thing about doing work for free and me saying, you know, do something that you're passionate about is, as you said, positioning yourself. It's or like what Danielle was saying,
Nathaniel, we can't hear you. Your mic gone.
Or did he drop out?
It
I
well,
don't know.
I think he was having mic problems earlier.
Oh,
All right, so
but
let me.
yeah,
To build on what Ikem was saying, it's the same thing me and Daniel talk about sometime about like the audience that you build. For a lot of us, when we start off our social media pages, we're just putting art out there, and we're gaining followers based on people who just like our art. But that's different from people who would actually pay for your art. In a lot of instances.
True.
And as Ikem was saying, when you build a platform around this is what I do, and you can hire me to do it for you, you gain
and
a
you
type of
have to
audience.
add. I don't know what's going on.
Hmm? Or you gain the type of audience that is more willing to be like, okay, this guy is selling a product, versus just come look at my stuff and like it. So I think that's something that we need to think about when we're building our audience.
yeah. And to be honest, like in addition, is like everybody has their own way to start. Like everybody's not gonna start the same. Some people know people. Some people don't know anybody. Have to start on their own. Some people are also really talented. Because you have people that support people that I know. Some people say like, okay, I can draw better than him. I can do this better than him. I'm not seeing why I'm not seeing the same growth as him? It's because like it's literally you can't see people as dollar signs. You legit have to build like a good relationship, and that's what learning like when I joined like Twitch, because the whole YouTube thing with the coffee break was like I enjoyed that. Like I legit had fun with like Z, Sam, Pan, like everybody that came through when we were drawing. And then I moved over to like Twitch. I was like, people was just vibing with us when we draw. And then I remember people just genuinely like gravitated towards you, just being like friendly to them. You're not looking at them to try to get them to buy anything. You're just drawing, having fun, laughing, and those people will support you like till the end of time. They will support you.
Yeah,
I
I
remember that I
find.
tried my hand at merch the other day. Like my friends that I knew a long time, I'm not even going to say like I'm not saying like they should have. I'm just saying like they're not the ones that I expected to like support me more aren't the ones like those random people that I don't even know how they look like they're across the globe. Like
Also,
they
sometimes your friend them broke, just like who.
yeah
Sometimes your friends are
yeah
in the same
yeah
position that you are
yeah
in.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying like it just came as a shock that if they didn't support me, like, but they still shared my stuff. That's still support, no matter what.
Yeah.
All right.
Support don't have to come in money. Like, just them sharing my stuff, them saying, okay, I know a guy that does that and send work to me. That's them. That's still them supporting me because I don't even have a problem like buying my own. Like, my friend came to me the other day and said, I really want one of your merch, but I don't have no money. I bought my own merch, sent it because he wanted to wear it and support me, and I'm like, I don't have no problem with that. But then the people that I met like on Twitch, like across the globe, and build a relationship with, without even me saying, "Yo, you have to buy this." I just say I have merch. They're just like, "Where can I buy it?" I didn't even push it like, "Yo, merch, come buy this now, buy that." They're just like, "Yo, where? When can we get another one? When can we get?" From you have a good relationship with people, you like that's your best. Cause what did they say? Your network is better than your network. Like
Mm.
that vibe. Cause even when I don't think Roxanne and Gash went on the second trip when the cohort was it the boss program sent us to like France. Like
Yeah, we weren't on
um
that trip.
yeah, it was with
Kenya.
Kevin Kenya and them, and like I met somebody there that like changed the game. Like, and we were just like we went to the event, this $100,000 event, nothing. Overwhelming because you have stars, Netflix, everybody have their stuff. We just took a break and went to a boat party. Yo, and I met like a plethora of people like that we can vibe with and like still to this day keep contact because we just it was no business, it was no what do you have for me, what can I sell you, what can I buy. It was just us sitting down vibing, drinking, laughing, dancing and everything. And then from that, one of them, he was one of the persons that I did a music video for, and he was one of them that undercharged. I sold him. I did a music video for I think 700 US, 700 US. See, even Kevin remembers 700 US dollars, and he's like, you know, you're undercharging yourself, right? And I'm like, yeah, like he accepted it, but then he's like, listen, after I did it, I felt like it was like a like audition. But after I did it, he's like, listen, I know some people, even a retired basketballer that wants to start up a series. I got involved in one of the new directors at Sony Animation on Instagram. Is like a sneakerhead type of fan.
Mm.
Sneds by Brie or something like that. This man, like, I was introduced and he's like, yo, you're not going to do art animation for them, for that chum change that you just did it for me. So like, he became like a mentor. Like, he brought me on any little project he had, and he had some large, because he has his own distribution platform called Toon Goggles that he started wanting me to do channel art for it. They started paying me, like, I don't mind exposing like the prices and stuff. They started saying,
Yeah, I
um,
appreciate that, sis.
he started paying me like saying every month you'll get 1,000 US dollars. And I'm like, for what? He's like, we just anytime we have basically they hired me for 1,000 a month. And the deal was in the contract was to not overdoing like one a week, one artwork a week. So that's basically 4 artwork a month and it's $1,000.
That's all right.
And it was a distribution platform and it like would be it's more than just he coming to me and saying, I'll have work for you, do it and that's it. No, we like he'll check in on me. I'll check in on him, know like literally know his family and stuff. And he's like, yo, I wanted to introduce it to something. They have a project. I don't remember the name of it on YouTube, but it's a series with Drake. And he's like, yo, I know the perfect person for this. And he referred me, and that's when I got in contact with one of the directors at Sony. I like everything I post now, I see him liking, and sometimes he's in contact in a group chat with this man. And he's like, yo, I'm even like, you know how some people would be like, yo, can you put me on? And he's like we run those jokes. And he's like, he'd be honest with me. And he's like, just get your portfolio up. Like that's all. And that's what I learned from even traveling to France and Kids Screen, make come on Kids Screen. Just have stuff ready. You don't need to look for like the big name Netflix. You have the biggest one there, YouTube. If you want like to start a series, get your stuff on YouTube. Get everything on YouTube. If you want to just start a series that you want to sell to Netflix, get audience. Netflix don't care if how it looks. The big names do not care how your show looks. What they want to know is if you got the views. If you can go to Netflix and say, yo, you got I'll say 100K views every time they drop this video, they'll be like, that's all they see, the views. They're like, all right, bring it. People, you already have an audience. We don't need to experiment with nothing. You already have the audience.
All right. So Davan has once again brought up great points. So I just want to summarize where we are right now. Basically, we're saying that we should just make friends and make ourselves useful to other people. One, actively trying to sell ourselves for work doesn't really work, but just existing in a space with work gets you more work than you try. Be professional with when you say no. Hike up your prices when you think they're worth it. You'll still be surprised by the work that you get and the consequences of your business manner. And did I say making friends already?
I think.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
but Davan just said that like we should just like work for free, but not just work for free, but work on projects and with people who we really believe in, who can give you like satisfaction in place of the money, and like
Yeah.
in doing work we'll get an audience. And like I'm wondering if like is that what you would call like or our grassroots development in Jamaica? Because like when I personally look around, it's hard. Not that it doesn't exist, obviously, but like I
Yeah.
find that it's hard to find people, or not just people. It's hard to find the items of work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I know Ikem does music videos that I can check back to see his kind of work, and I know that like Danielle has done a concept and like and character design, and I know that Gashwayne has a whole comic, and him have like merch things, and Joelle do this and Nathanael do that. It's easy for people who I know personally for me to be able to see what they've done, but like
Yeah.
outside of that group, it's hard for me to find work. It's hard for me to find evidence of an animation industry here. So do you think that that in working with each other, in the act of working with each other on projects like Dream Dust and like music videos when we need help, and on comics when we need help, is
That's
that
legit.
is
That's legit. What I was about to tell you about the Dream Dust thing. Like you just said, you can't see evidence of an animation industry. It's like it's just that everybody doing their own thing. This Dream Dust thing, Wink. This Dream Dust thing, Jen, is what I was saying. Like, just keep it alive. Keep this as a community. Make it like just like how you even have Kevin has the Jan thing. Like, just build like a community around it. Like you have the Discord. Like I would say, just open it up, build, and everybody can build relationships with everybody. It would take away from the thing that we were talking about, where literally someone came up to me and said, you're who you are, and I'm like, yes, I am. And I was like, I didn't know that you were real. I'm like, what you mean? Because your art is like this, and I'm like, yes, real people have to produce the art. I think it was when we went to Kingston the time, and it's like some people met me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm real. I'm a real person, and I'm like, I think people need to like break down that wall and just communicate with each other. Learn that certain like people aren't like gods like they think, that we're just normal human. We had to struggle and to learn how to draw, because people thinking that
I mean, besides that, I also feel like it's a part of not showing your face online so much, so they just see artwork a lot and they don't really know there's a human behind it.
I guess you're right.
So as we've stated, it's a lot about networking and interfacing with people. People like to know you.
Yeah, that's
like that's not even so much about the work that you offer. If you have a really good personality and you're that actually matters more than anything else. Like good relationships with your clients. Like you don't have to be friends necessarily, but you need to be pleasant. Otherwise, they're not going to want to work with you again or at all.
guys guys, like how do you like we are like they keep saying that we're in an animation industry, but I don't really feel like we are, because I can't see the work, because it's hard to find the work. Like how do you feel about calling what we have an animation industry? Because like the industry should have more than just 10-15 people trying to make it work on their own. It should have like a union, Joelle, and it should have
Dream Dust.
shut up.
Yeah.
It should-
Okay, alright.
No, it's funny because the thing is, it's something that I was dealing a lot with this year, because with everything that been happening, right? Stuff kind of been feeling very surreal, right? And I think we have this imposter syndrome. I'm saying that you have it just because I hear you ask this question a lot. And I get that we look outside of Jamaica and we see these bigger industries where you have a bunch of studios and they have all the bells and whistles and stuff, right? But if you here's a analogy, right? So you ever go somewhere new, right? Like say you travel abroad or you go somewhere like just across the island or something, and you see somewhere that look exactly like somewhere in Kingston, and you're like, oh, this is like this
Yes.
place in Kingston, right?
Yep.
Or this is this place back home. Everybody, the whole grass is the green on the other side thing. Everybody is looking outside and saying, oh, this place is like this other place, right? You come halfway through and you say, oh, this is like Kingston's said what that place name, Times Square, right? And then you rank it in your head like, oh, but Times Square is bigger and better and whatever. People who live in New York probably see Times Square every day and get so used to it. Them like, oh, this place is just, is overrated, whatever. And then they come Jamaica and they come half and just like, oh, this is so nice. It's so quaint and it's small and everything's nicer
Drink a
here.
bug
Easy
juice and you're like, what is this? It's a
So
bug
everybody is constantly comparing another place when the truth is, the world is just, and I mean, I think now with the internet, everything is becoming more apparent, that like the world, everybody has problems everywhere. And the only thing differentiator between an industry in, say, Korea versus here, or in America versus here, is that they have more stuff out, right? So they have all these years of this brand building where they have a bunch of stuff. But if you go somewhere, you probably would be surprised how similar it is to what we're doing right now. This is what you've created, Dream Dust. Somebody started the Oscars 1 year, and there were probably like a bunch of people in a room kind of like this, and them saying, oh, I mean, what we should do, a golden statue, is that going to be too lame? Oh, back in the Rome, they had these wreaths, we need a wreath like the thing. You get me? Everybody's comparing it to something that came before and thinking, oh, the thing that we're doing isn't legit. But this is just as legit as anything outside. And the fact that you've started the initiative, right, and it's a beginning, yes, probably you don't have the backing of years and years of a track record, but as Easy said, just keep it going, just keep it going and keep it alive, because this,
Also,
trust me.
something that I think that this event itself offers, that something that Kingston or the other events abroad can't, is that nobody understands the market better than us. And we're the people who live here. We're the people who are working here. And so the thing is, a foreigner mentor can only help you so much. When I was talking to Sam about this earlier, actually, they can only help you so much in regards to telling you how to price your work and how to sell your work, because they don't understand the market. The same way Easy said, people down here just not going to pay for certain things, and then the relationship that you have with people down here and the business way it functions is not the same as it would work abroad. So somebody abroad they understand how much it's worth, and they're just say, all right, here's the price, let's pay, let's get the work done. Somebody down here, they don't really understand where animation is as an industry or how much work it takes. You have to take your time with them. It's better rather than getting upset about the whole thing. And and then just writing off the country. Explain it to them. Time to.
I understand what you guys are saying, and like I do agree with it, but at the same time, you have to think about your reality right now. Nathanael, you say that you've done very little animation in the last few years. In the commissions that I did this year is the most, I've been animating for the last 5 years, but the commissions that I did this year is the most animation I've done since I've left school. Gashwayne is working in an animation studio, and he basically still does like a lot of commissions because he feels like he needs to, and also is investing a lot of time in in his personal work. So like what happened, so if we are juggling, if we're hustling so much, what happened to the people them who just coming out of school? What place do they have? Because them can't all go to a studio, because the studios are small here, and they're learning at the same rate that we are learning. So what happened when the students are just leaving school? How do they find work?
All right.
Well,
Something that I see to just talk about that is anything. I know that it's been a while, but it's still new. I would say it's still, because, as you said, nothing really established like that to say, okay, you can go here to learn about it like that. Like how you have Canada, certain schools that you can, when you come out of that, big names are gonna want to take you up. What I would say, because it's new, is you need quantity. It's like Jamaica needs to be put on the map. And again, it was that I realized something. Jamaica has something that no one, well, not let me not say no one, none of the big names have, like Canada, America, France, none of them have this. When we went to MIPCOM, people wanted, we had on some Jamaican shirts. People just wanted to see Jamaica. They wanted to see what Jamaica has. Like, it was like we have a special treat. Like, from the moment you say Jamaican, people light up for some reason.
Jamaica itself is a brand.
Yeah, we have a brand. We have something where if you say something and then you put Jamaica, I'm telling you right now, when we on Twitch, I get most of my views just because I put a Jamaican flag in the title. And one thing I can say about Jamaican, like, in the island sometimes they'll be like, but international Jamaicans, the moment they see that flag, they gonna support you no matter what. And it's like I said, it's a brand that I got to realize that the moment you put out something and say it's from Jamaican, people will gravitate towards it, because big names want to explore a new region. They want to see what coming out of Jamaica. Last thing they probably saw was either Sprinter, and if you talk to the right person, the last thing they saw was Cool Runnings. And like, that's the vibe. So for the new people that coming out of school, all I'm saying is, my only advice is, we're living in a day and age where you don't need to go to no big name people to have your art out there, to have your animation out there. You can get a couple of your friends that you know good at voice acting, friends that you know, if you can animate, you can, I don't know, find someone, work up some money, make a beat, buy a beat or something, and just make a little series. Just make something over and over. Cause we saw some stuff that looked like it was made with templates, and that has millions of views on YouTube.
Sorry, so what you're saying? So what you're saying is
still have to find time for it, though, and I can understand the question that Jenny pitched in that, if you're leaving college and you're not in a position where you can just work on your free things, because that was something that was mentioned earlier, that it's just some of us just don't have the time to work on and that passion project.
Yeah.
But my advice in that case is, don't feel bad if you have to work a 9 to 5 that isn't related to what you want to do.
Yeah. Just have to
like, because that was my experience. I had to do it on the side for a while, and I had to do something that was unrelated for a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Studio life and 9 to 5 life is not for everybody. Freelance life is absolutely not for everybody. It's just, it depends on you. But like, you can start small, and that's as long as you start. Just start somewhere.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're okay.
I'm
continue.
sorry. Oh. No, I was saying sorry if it sounded like I was dismissing your
No,
points.
no.
Because I'm not. I wasn't at all.
No, I
think
understand what you were
the
saying.
thing is, because the thing is, you saying that the people coming out of school now, I think they're in a much better position than we were when we were coming out of school, and we've made it kind of. We're doing stuff. So imagine them that have, us already in the queuing up stuff for them to come out into, you see me? So it is something that going to take some time, but I think the building blocks are definitely there already.
All right, so wait, let me just summarize it to this section. So basically, you're saying that students who leave school, even though we don't have much of an industry now, there is still stuff that's happening, and shut up, Davan. And so, and
It,
if
it,
you're
it's a bit,
leaving,
you,
and hold
you
on
think
there,
I'm cloning you, but
dog.
I'm
Just let me
serious.
finish, dog. So
A real thing, a real thing.
so so when they're leaving school, they should build their relationships, do
Mm-hmm.
work, take advantage of Brand Jamaica, because Brand Jamaica is something that's there ahead of them, and they can use it to leverage themselves
Yup.
to find work if they can't depend on like a small studio locally to hire them. Be sure that they're in the international market. So that means that them have to be great. When them leave school, they have to actually have a skill to.
Yeah.
But and you don't need to wait until after school. That's when you're in school, you have the time to just learn and get the skill, and then leverage that after you leave. All right, so that's our grassroots development. But the reality is that several of us, have to work on like side projects to make this career feasible. Like, so how have you guys been finding it making your own IP? And I particularly want to throw this at Gashwayne, Joelle, and Danielle, because they have like their personal projects that I know about because I'm their friends. Some of the followers will know about a couple of them, but I want them to like explain their thinking about the projects that they've chosen, and why they've chosen this particular approach to it. So who wants to start first?
You mean about my personal projects?
Yeah, like why you start them, how you start them, why you took the approach you did, the yada yada yada, how's the response?
Alright, so I have three personal projects that I work on, separate from my personal art. I mean, they're all personal art, but like, how I think about it is that, Spectacular Specs, the comic series. By the way, I've released episode 9 today.
Yeah.
On Webtoons. That story is a story that when I went with Davan and the others to Kids Screen in 2017, 18, we learned that there's like kids content is something that people really want. So I started thinking about I had before that a story that I wrote, a novel, but I didn't publish it because I wasn't confident enough about the story. So I started rethinking that story, and then I decided to start off fresh with a new story. I thought about Spectacular Specs, and I worked on it from that point onwards. I entered it into Kingston 2019, or last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I entered it into 3 categories and won in all 3 categories. And, I was just like, yeah, motivated to do this. Initially, I wanted to create a pitch Bible, create an animatic, and try to pitch it to companies, the Netflix, the Cartoon Networks, the Nickelodeons. But doing that by myself, I realized it was taking a really long time, especially trying to create a decent animatic or burner reel by myself. So as Davan said, there's platforms out there that you can put your own thing out. So I decided to pivot from doing just creating a pitch and a burner reel, to creating the comic. Because I thought to myself, well, if I have a comic, at least it's out there. So I started off with the Instagram page, and then I uploaded the comic to Webtoons, and it's been stress and anxiety ever since. And that for me is a story that I want to tell, because I do like telling stories. I've always made comics from as young as I can remember. I made my first comic was my first published comic, which was to my classmates, was called Karama, the Spirit Warrior, that had 10 episodes that I do in these little books. And I've always wanted to make comics for a long time. So for that itch of creating a comic, Spectacular Specs was for that itch. But I also have another itch of creating merchandise. Right now, I do also want to make merchandise of Spectacular Specs, but I also wanted to create a kind of, I guess, Jamaican Hello Kitty,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where CN9 came in. I wanted a character that I could just dress up, um, make stickers for, make t-shirts for, put all sorts of quotes that I want to put, print anything I want to print. If I want to make key rings, if I want to put them on mugs, and that was what CNN came from. So that was from CNN started from the previous year's Inktober, where so the idea was to create a character, and for each day of the Inktober, I would redraw that character with the prompt, and it kept building and building and building until it formed like a story. Each day I posted this character. I decided to take that character and develop her more, put a branding around it, and kind of soft launch that as a merchandising brand to see how can I develop and create merch around this content.
So,
Recently,
oh, I was going to ask you like why did you start all this stuff? Like,
mhm.
I mean, part of it is that you just want to do it, but did you feel like you had to do it, or was it just like a long term investment that you thought was smart to start working on?
Well, yeah. For one, it's like it's really out of passion, as I've been saying, but also the long-term investment. 'Cause as I was saying, listen to these guys talk about like the freelance world, and I'm just like, man, you guys are making money. From what I'm doing, it's nice to do your own personal project, but as you know, you don't just jump off the bat and start making a bag of money from it. But the hope is that by doing it for several years, by slaving over it for a couple of years, eventually you'll pick up some kind of long-term benefit. Maybe start a company that can produce the things for you more, better. Um, and that is really the long-term goal for these projects. With the hope that I can make a profit or a turnaround eventually. And that in that way, I don't have to necessarily depend on a 9 to 5 or depend on clients to always be like, okay, where am I going to get money from? But I kind of put in a structure in place to make some passive income by selling merch that's online that someone can just come on and buy it, or from getting views from a comic, or maybe eventually even that comic becoming a series, and picking up money from that.
Joel,
That, that,
Joel, can you speak, or do you feel well enough to speak?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Um, could you repeat the question for me, please?
I was
Sorry, guys, I have my headache, so I'm kind of slowing down.
I was asking about like making merch, because apart I was thinking about like the aspects of the industry that we're in, and how it's not just animating for ourselves or animating for clients and being in a studio. A lot of it is also like, let's just call it I don't, well, a lot of it is like merchandise, because that's how animation makes money, through merch.
Mm,
And so it's like it's about merchandise, and like the smaller, the not the smaller, the other aspects of like relationship between fans and creators. So I wanted to ask about why you started your IP, and what was like your thought process behind it, and what the response has been like, and what you hope the results to be.
okay, sure. So, let me speak in, as it regards to gals and foodie, but mainly gals. So the origin story behind that is that I have a lot of male friends. So I'm used to hearing like their stories. And oftentimes in the group that there's often a tale that comes up about their encounter with a lady and the kind of quote unquote crosses that she bring in their lives. And then I think when I heard that, I started to just think about like all these stories that I used to hear. And then when Governor dropped the song "Bake Beans," and the line that says "Jenna Jenna, we know wife butter is girl." And so I started asking her like, guys, what is a butter is girl and what is a waist girl and like a demon girl and all of that. And getting those responses, I was like, they would be pretty cool characters. Like, what if I could present like a manifestation of a demon girl or butter is girl or waist girl and so on. When it comes to doing IPs, I like things that remind me of home, remind me of Jamaica, and ideas that I find fun. So the idea of a girl walking around with actual butt ears and guys calling her butter ears girl, but still fawning over her in some sense because she still look good if you can look past the ears. I find that funny. With food is me love Jamaican food from curry goat or mutton down to corned beef. We love all of it. And I remember I was on Pinterest and I was looking at some sticker designs and I saw how people represented like I think it was some Japanese food aesthetic, like cute bubbly characters. I was like, I wonder how that would look, but for Jamaican kind of food. And I started, just playing around the idea, and then when Jenille presented the idea of actually going to a con where I can actually sell things, I was like, well, all right, let's try this out because I don't know nothing about this. I don't know where it gonna go left or right. So I remember doing the designs, getting them printed, cutting them out, making sticker packs, and going to the convention. And the response to me was very unexpected and overwhelming. I did not expect Jamaicans to look at it and instantly resonate with it and fawn over it. Because I also did fan artwork and they were completely overlooked and everybody's attention was on the gal stickers and the foodie buttons because I made them into little buttons and sticker packs, but the buttons are what got people's attention, like the cheese patty and all of that. And then, well, yeah, of course, the money is good. I really love the fact that this is something that I made, something that I like. Cause, like I said in a previous panel talk, if it's not something that I would want for myself, when it comes to the actual product or the quality of the product, I don't want to give it to anybody else. So to see that something.
So like you and Gashwayne actively trying to find a way to fit animation and like merch into Jamaican landscape by repackaging like Jamaican ideas. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you haven't seen Gashwayne and Joelle's factory Dream Dust exhibition, you should go check it out because the things that they're talking about they're on the website, so you should go and look at that. Yeah, so is that what you guys are doing? You're trying to fit into like the Jamaican landscape in like the cultural landscape in like a new way? Are you doing that on purpose or it was kind of just incidental?
Well, I don't know about Gash, but for me, it's kind of like a buckle. Because like I said, I was really making them for me and then trying to just put them out there to see how people react. My intention was never to, I'm going to make something that people are going to buy so I can make money. It was more like, I want something cute and fun that reminds me of home. Now I made it. I wonder how other people would think about it. And then I put it out there and I get the response.
As it relates to that, the fourth project is between me and Danielle. We're collaborating on Kakuno Couple, and that one isn't geared necessarily towards Jamaicans, but like a more international audience.
What were you saying,
Oh,
Danielle?
I was going to say like I wanted we were discussing like making a collaboration, right? And I wanted like I saw there was this genre of characters like Hello Kitty where people would literally just put two dotted eyes and a circle on a character, and it would a lot of people would flock to it. So we
Would
kept
lose
on
their
thinking,
minds.
yeah. So like we kept on thinking, like how can we make something like that? Um, I created Aki because I wanted to like have at least something of Jamaica to just also make it be different. Because almost all the characters are like cats or rabbits or bears.
Or egg.
Yeah, one is a potato too. So like we we wanted to like also infuse like the cuteness of like Japan and so on because I like watching Japanese stuff and what I wanted to infuse that kind of like a slice of life kind of thing, and then Gashwayne created his character Rook, um and we kind of gave them like both of our personalities, so it's not necessarily like a it wasn't hard thinking of the personalities because I'm Aki and then he's Rook. Um, but yeah, but like building, like doing the research for that was took a while actually. Took us a couple months to like just look at research. We know that we want to make merch with it, so we did a lot of research. We wrote down a lot of notes. We went through a couple character designs until we could like land on something. And that was what happened a couple. I can definitely say for like a different IP that I'm working on, like it takes a lot of time and patience and a lot of work. Because I know Jenille, you also have an IP that Hot Stepper that's you made a literal IP, and Gashwayne also made a IP, a pitch Bible. I mean, a pitch Bible for spectacular specs. And like watching you guys go through it, I don't know how, how you guys did it, but now also like going through it myself, I'm just, I still don't know how you guys did it. You guys did it really fast as well.
Jenny, do you have that project anywhere online? Because yo, Hot Step was sick, you know. Like, people
I
need to
told
see
her
that.
to pick
It's
up for dream the and she just ignored me. She left me on red.
Wow.
I don't.
Damn.
I feel. All right. So yes, Hot Stepper is online. It's on Webtoons right now. You can type it into Webtoons and you can see the one shot comic that I did for it. If you go on my Instagram, you can find like the character designs and some of the side characters that I designed for it. I did not do it for Dream Dust because I wanted, like, I've been giving myself some time away from it to just like kind of clear my head. I felt like I was getting really cluttered with my thinking about it. So after Dream Dust is done, I'm going to take some time off to de-stress from Dream Dust, and then I'm going to deal with Hot Steppers. So 2021 is Hot Steppers year. So
You know, can just a point there. I think Gals has been the most consistent. It's. I've never been so consistent with a project, and I find it funny because it's the things that I give the least thought into are the things that I am motivated to continue. Because I have other Jenny, you know I have other projects. In the Listen Me office now, there's one project that's looking at me like, what am I going to do with her? And I still don't know. Because because that project started out with okay, how am I going to sell this to somebody else and not,
yeah, I feel like at least in the Listen Me office, I'm not sure about like Ikem, Easy and Nathanael, but in the Listen Me office we are all pretty active in our learning and like in our research, And there was a period of time where we were all trying to learn how to make a series pitch because we're in a studio, and it's something that we're going to have to deal with at some point. How we're going to make a series pitch, how we're going to make come up with a concept, how we treat all that. So a lot of us kind of just fell into making IP, like just on accident. So yeah, like so for me, like Hot Stepper was just like a part of my learning, but now I guess me and Joelle are in the position of trying to figure out what we want to do with it, like what we want the end result to be. And I think that process of having an idea, even Nathanael has something with Samantha. Like Nathanael partnered with his sister to make like bacon and bits, like a typographic and a character driven project. And like I feel like these things are parts of the industry, like I was saying before, because if there is no show, if there is no IP, if there is no comic book, there is nothing, basically. Almost there's nothing to make merch from, there's nothing for the fans to interact with, there's nothing for fans to be fans of. It would just basically be us trying to find a commission here and there, and maybe working for somebody, for a studio or a group or somebody abroad or here. I feel like the services would be the only thing the industry would be built on if we didn't have IP, basically. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what pops up from the rest of us.
That's a good point.
I just saw a comment that they would love a girls and hot stepper crossover and call it hot stepper.
Yeah, sure. That sounds
Jenille,
That sounds fun.
That really needs to happen.
Okay. So is it worth? Do you think it's worth it, guys, to go through all this stress and struggle?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Here's the thing, somebody has to go through it. No matter what you do, somebody has to go through it. Right now, just call it set that everybody here now is the pioneers. Like, we might not see the benefit of it right now, or we might never ever see the benefit of it. Sad to say, not depressing nobody, but it's literally about paving a way, because when we started animation, nobody had no dream just like space where they could go to and talk to.
Pause. In terms of pioneering, big ups to Camille Sylvan Abrahams, Kevin Jackson, and Coretta Singer, because them Monday start in the midst of the darkness and just decide that they're gonna build something.
Yeah, like that's the thing where I'm saying, like, and the more it goes on, like how you have dream dust now, you're going to inspire somebody is going to do something. They're going to be like, okay, let me open up a lounge area and then after that, and so on. So it's building. It's not like it's at a standstill. So I have to admit that we have a growing industry. Let me not say like a solid industry, but it's growing.
Yeah, I just want to add too, like, I remember when I was in Korea, Dwayne said to me, because I always can't pronounce his name. But he said to me that, like, for him, he wasn't able to live out his dreams to become an animator, so he is trying to make that way for us. And like, I remember just thinking, like, oh my God, like, I wouldn't want to be the person to sit down and just watch my dreams fade away, because at that time, at their time, the opportunity was really not there, right? And like right now, the opportunity is here for us, like Kingston, Dream Dust, like, even though it's true, we are also pioneers, we're also trendsetters, but like, they really paved the way for us to even do that.
Yeah, and they reached us. And it's like just about expanding that. And like I said, they have to pay like homage and stuff and big up who started and them stuff.
It's true.
But But yeah, I know a lot of people like in the chat probably like they think they like they have the motive, they have the motivation to say, yo, let me start a IP, let me do something, let me just. You gotta hold on to that energy because I can't tell you how much time since I went to Kids Screen and Mipcom, I have that energy. Like, yo, all you need to do is start the IP, bet that, bet. All right, no problem. Ask me where all of that is now. Ask me where all that. That's an energy that you have to. I get that. I know that um, commission work is the reason why I'm not working. Also, even my friends like Coffee and them people, not that Coffee. Coffee and
Yeah.
people decide to say that they might ask me like when we're gonna work on this, and it's like that's the thing that you need. Don't sit by yourself and do something because you will give yourself a million excuses why you don't have to do something right now.
Can I add?
If you sit in a group with some people, they're gonna be a motivation. If you sit down and don't want to do nothing, probably one of your group members want to do something, and that will motivate the whole group to do something.
Or
Yeah.
or you know what also helped? What helped me was to publish your intentions online. Put it
Yeah.
out there online. Like when I was
Accountability.
before I started before I started or before I finished my first episodes for Specs, I told people that it was going to come out. And the fact that I made that public and people say, yeah, I'm gonna look forward to it. Immediately I felt the pressure to put this thing out. I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, well I told people I was going to do it, so now I have to do it.
Gosh, I'm gonna tell you right now, you better than me. But I will tell you this coming out, Friday. I'm like,
Yeah.
just listen, it got delayed. That's what I mean. Like, I will tell myself, for people like me, I will tell myself 1,000 reasons why I don't need to do it. But
Okay, okay,
if I
okay.
have,
Can I add? Can I add to that?
Sure.
Um, yeah, I think also we should put that emphasis on taking care of our brains and our bodies.
Yeah.
Like go outside, take a walk, drink
Go
water.
outside.
like,
Oh, nice.
Is
Go
it-
outside.
Like talk to people.
listen,
No,
this is
because enough time we sit
Socialize.
down, like enough time we sit down. Alright, so my computer was down for the last month, right? And I was working on a laptop. So when I got it back, I was just in the thing that I just submitted, right? And it was the whole month before I was doing, regular exercise like a couple times a week and stretching in the morning and them thing there. And then lockdown time now, and you know what I mean, you have the deadline, and then you just go days and days and days without doing any of that.
Yeah.
And it take a toll on it. But like last night, I did message Jenna. I was telling her my brain shut down at one point. Like literally, I remember being in the computer. Next thing I remember, I just wake up. And I don't even know how I get to where I was lying down. I just
Yeah,
remember I
that's
just woke up and I'm like, oh shoot.
yeah, that's a whole energy.
Uh,
I remember my
Dude, this
computer
is
just
not-
crashing, and
Yeah.
I was grateful. I'm actually grateful that my computer crashed. I'm like, I can't do nothing.
Honestly, yeah.
Yes,
I'm
you have to
relaxing
take
right
care of your. You have
Yeah.
to take care of your body, because trust me, as you get older, you see me, I getting on my knocking on 30's door. Trust me, if I never, like this year, I've probably done more exercise than I've ever done in my life, and it's changed my energy so much that it's like, I don't think I would have said I would have submitted anything to Dream Dust if I hadn't taken those steps, because trust me,
Yeah.
enough time I just burn out till it's like I don't want,
Yeah.
I can't, I just, you see me? So just take care of your mind and your body.
Even I think that's a good one too, because like I can't tell you how much time like I will exercise in the morning. Either go hill, like put more hill and come back, and I feel light and motivated to just do a bag of work. And I don't know why, but exercise and breaks really good there, you know.
My advice for that is pacing yourself. For me, I basically found and well, I still work on a routine for getting work done. Because as you can imagine, I work a 9 to 5. I wake up in the morning, and I start work and I draw at work. I draw. I go for lunch. I come back, draw. When work is done, it's back to more drawing until in the night. So of course it will take a toll on you. But I find that like pacing myself, timing myself, and like giving myself deliberate downtimes to relax is very,
I'm very
very
bad at that.
important. Now, trust me, that is what really helps you. Like,
Yeah.
get a timer, time yourself. If you can work for an hour, then work for an hour, then take a break. Even if you don't feel like taking a break, just get up and take a break. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
All right,
Trust
guys,
me, that will help.
we have to conclude now.
Sleep.
That
Yes,
too.
get some sleep.
Sleep.
One thing,
Sleep. Oh
guys,
no.
guys, we have to conclude. We have like a half an hour break before the next talk.
Oh, yes.
And we need to prep. We need to prep for that. But in conclusion, do you like what do you can you say it in like a few words like what you think is a good payoff for being in this industry, like what would make all of this worth it?
just seeing like first of all, there's money in this thing. Don't let nobody ever trick you. There is money in it. It's just how you go about it, and the payoff is like just seeing something that you work on, like broadcasted somewhere, or seeing it over YouTube and seeing people just love it. That's one joy it brought me. And as I said again, the money, which most people will do it for, won't come instantly. I can tell you that. But yeah,
I think just as Davan said, something that you can feel proud of on it. It's even if it's not your own personal work, it could be
Yeah.
something you helped with, like just Dream Dust itself. You know, like if you helped out with it, it's something I can look back on and say, "Yo, I was a part of that," and you paving the way for somebody else. I'm okay with that. Like that's something beneficial for me.
and this is the best time to get into animation, especially Jamaican,
Yes.
because it's new.
Yes.
Get your foot in. Don't make it wait till like 100 people doing it or 1,000 people doing it. Then you want to find a way out. Then now you have to be like really good at it to stand out. Just start now, and you don't know where that will take in like a couple months. You'll see growth.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, for me, it's just that there's nothing else I'd rather do. You know, so it's just me being able to do what I really wanted to do.
That's true.
Making the connections and seeing
Yeah, I'm
Just-
just seeing people enjoy my work. Money is a plus, but seeing people enjoy my work, yeah.
Yeah.
I need like we said, money, livable wage, health benefits, and an improvement in the quality of my life. I don't want to be where I am now in
With the
5
second
years.
hand.
I shouldn't be getting the same sort of income in 5 years as I'm getting today. I need to be able to actually improve on my life, because I think that it's easy for you to fall into just being complacent with what you have now. I mean, what you have now is fine, but what happened to when you want to evolve? What happened to when you want to like do
Yeah.
something else? You actually cannot do anything else because you're limited. So the livable wage and improvement on quality of life is very important for me. Otherwise, I feel like we run the risk of just getting stuck.
As Ikem say, you know, taking a break is advised, but sometimes you're just in a spot where taking a break isn't even really an option because you need that money. So
Yeah. And to people out there, like, you have a lot of people, one thing I always even dog on myself and have to write like a memo for it is that everybody grows at their own pace. So some of y'all need to like relax a bit. Like some of y'all probably wake up in panic saying like you see your friend or you see somebody that you know growing fast and getting better and stuff. You gotta just chill and relax a bit and just take your time. Don't lose sleep, cause that guy probably just sleeping 5 times a day and drawing once, but he's passionate about it and stuff. Meanwhile, you trying to keep up with him, you burning yourself out. Just relax. Everybody grow at different pace. Mango tree grow different from a rose, and those are the things. So like
The opposite
like,
is true as well. Someone no need for press gas.
Yeah.
Some people
Some of-
are just like casually saying that they want to do animation and then they're not actually doing the work
Literally just do it. Literally
just do it. So
draw. Just draw
yeah.
over. They don't try to perfect nothing. Just start. Over time, speed will come, quality will come, but you can't get none of that till you just constantly do it.
All right.
Routine, like Gashwayne says, routine helps, like Gashwayne was saying.
Yeah. All right, and that's the end of Dreaming in Jamaica. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you to the guests, and thank you to the people in the chat. See you in half an hour with part
Yeah,
2.
man, thanks to the guests, man. I realized that it's been 19 people watching. It was 19 people all the way through.
Oh wow.
So I really appreciate that. Nobody.
Sometimes it was 20.
Now it's
sometimes-
33.
Yeah.
Hi chat.
Yeah, 30.
Well, aside for that was what I saw. I don't know what was before.
All right.
But either way, thanks to everybody who
Bye, guys.
stick through, man.
Our next chat has Coretta and Kevin in there, so tune in for that later.
All right.